Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of...
What's up? Today is, what's my calendar? It's the 9th of June.
6/9.
It's 6 o'clock my time. My guests are in different time zones, and a couple of them are running from the law, so I ain't gonna tell you what time it is there. But this is that adult show that y'all kept asking me about, so hopefully y'all can catch up and join us. Some of y'all gonna have to watch later. So I'm gonna do a quick little monologue, and then we're gonna be about that life, because I got questions. I got batteries for my Halo, because I'm sure I'm gonna be tainted after this whole thing is over with. I got my Hail Mary juice, because I know I'm gonna need a lot of it. So let's say what's been going on this week. A whole lot of nothing. I'm doing a lifestyle show because you guys asked about it, and I made a post a few months ago. I repeated it over and over again, and because we're going to be talking about sex. So if you don't want to talk about sex, you might want to go do something else. And the post was, everybody wants a freak until they meet a freak, and we're so judgmental about things that we do or don't do. If it don't work for you, just don't do it. Keep moving. But why do we feel the need to judge other people? There's some things I'm very open-minded, but there's some things I know that I'm afraid of, but I don't judge other people who do them. I'm just not there yet. My level of fear ain't subsided for me to get there. But for people who enjoy what they do, hey, do it. We talk about everybody wants to be respected for their choice. But when people do something you don't like, the first thing we do, as opposed to listening to educate ourselves, is we try to slick through shame, even though we don't care. We just want to talk about other people and call them names. Oh, that's nasty. That's this. And, right before the show, I was looking at something about single people having sex with more than one person, and I'm looking at some of the dumbass comments. Oh, that's how you catch AIDS. A lot of people in committed relationship caught AIDS because one other person was stepping out. But when we get to this, and I got some people who I've watched them, we're gonna dispel some of the dumbest myths that's going on. Because you're afraid of something that you don't know, You'd rather just create your own false narrative. Does that remind you of anybody? So just remember, when you do dumb shit and I call you a former president, it's because you creating alternate facts that aren't based in reality just because you're afraid of something. And just say that. Say, I don't know nothing about it. I hate every time I see the post about anal sex. Everybody and people ask if you into it, yada yada yada, and other people want to come on and say how nasty it is. That wasn't the question. The question was, how do you make it great? If you don't have a comment for that, keep moving. They're not talking to y'all who's scared of it or don't want to do it or talk about what it was meant for. What's gay sex? What's this sex? If it ain't your kink, just keep moving. Or sit back, do like I do. I like it, so I can go back and read the comments. Even though there's some things that I'm not into, but I'm still interested in what other people do. I'm interested in what other people think about. And that's more about being open-minded. Because even in the lifestyle, as you'll find out from my guests, everybody doesn't do the same things. They still do what's comfortable to them. They do what pleases them. It's a lot of, and I'm gonna let them talk about this when I get there. It's a lot of trial stuff, but they're open-minded. They try something, they like it, they try it again. If they don't like it, they eliminate it. But there's still not a whole lot of judgment in it. And I told you what got me into the whole lifestyle thing when I first did my research was I was looking at relationships, and the two things that people separate the most, the two top causes of divorce are financial infidelity and sexual infidelity. So it's sex and money. Sex and money. And in my mind, there's nothing greater than having a partner who you can tell the same things you would tell your best friend. I got 2 women on the show and 1 male. And I say this, I talk about me and Trina all the time. But there's nothing like having a partner who I can tell when we out in the street, I'm like, oh, she could get it. And my partner's just cool with that. Or she could tell me she thinks a guy's hot, and we cool with that because we all claim to want a friend to be our lover, but we don't want to have friend conversations. I don't know too many guys that got friends that don't talk about other women, and women who got friends that don't talk about other men. So why we can't have this conversation with the person that we claim we love and we want to spend eternity, or at least the next 6.5 months with? So that's my little spiel for right now. Like I said, if you're not open-minded, if you come in with the ooh and what your Bible or book or whatever it is won't let you do, it's okay to miss this show. We're going to keep it respectful because I can see all the comments. But if you got legitimate questions, type them in the box, and I'm going to read them off to the guests, and they're going to tell you something. I got one who's going to tell you about fulfilling your fantasies. I'm scared. I got a notepad. I got some blindfolds just so I ain't got to see. One of them got a book that I already been told I can't read, and he said he got an audio book. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back. I'm gonna introduce my guests, and we're going to talk about this lifestyle thing and will it work for you or won't it work for you? So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant. Authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door. Tell your mama hungry.
All right, we back. Mark ain't came on this page yet. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna introduce my guests, and they're gonna tell you a little bit about themselves. They ain't gonna take too long because they're gonna tell you all the stuff they're doing later on, so how you can follow them, because all of them got some kind of business set up. So I want to make sure y'all follow them, because Facebook won't let me put the links up early. So we're gonna start off while her phone is working, because she know I'm gonna talk trash about her. So we're gonna let she start first before her burglar break in and she start doing her little fantasy sessions in the middle of my show.
You know, I was told that you shouldn't talk about nothing that you're not prepared to change.
Is that your introduction?
No, that's my statement to you. Hi everyone. I'm Shivana. Fantasize Your Room. Yes, I'm glad to be back.
All right, and we got Miss Nikki. She out here doing her thing.
Hi, my name is Nikki, and I'm Nikki Love on Facebook. I've been in the BDSM lifestyle for, I want to say, about 5-6 years. That is something that I've known about all my life, and I'm pretty much like a sex advocate. I could talk about it all day long and never get bored. So, and I'm also all about educating people too, because there's a lot of people who don't know anything about condoms or lubrication or what to do or what not to do in a lot of situations. So I'm all about just helping people out.
All right, and we got the young fella who gonna, you know what, I'm gonna save him for last. We got my regular co-host, Mr. 976, sitting back there doing his thing. He's sitting in the cut waiting for his question of the day to see how much they taint the host and make my halo buzz. Mr. 976.
Just saying hello. You know, I'm sitting here anxious to learn some more things. You know, people always talk about honesty and being uninhibited, you know, and all of that. So, you know, I'm ready to learn more about that. I'm single right now, so I can do what the hell I want. So, you know, trying to hear from the ladies. And Big Mac can tell me what's up.
And the man of the hour, Mac, come on in and tell us about yourself. And
well, I am Mac Styles. I've been in the swinging lifestyle specifically for about 10 years. I went through the most craziest introduction to the lifestyle you can imagine, and that's from lack of knowledge. So I basically took in all the lifestyles all at once without even knowing it, from BDSM, swinging, poly. I took it all on at once. And out of that, I learned a lot of lessons. And I ended up writing a book about it, which you see in my background, Sex, Chicken, and Cocoa Butter. Everybody always asks about the name. I'm sure it'll come up. We'll talk about it later. But really, it's a book on what not to do and to learn from those lessons and how to better communicate. If you can read between the lines, how to better communicate. And from that, we built Beyond Lifestyles, which is a group where we try to educate people. We bring a lot of people in, and we try to educate as best as possible.
All right, so you know what? Let's just go on and cut to the chase now. Tell us how you came up with this name. Because go ahead. Let's just go on and knock that out the way.
Yep. So quick story. Sex, Chicken, Cocoa Butter is a play on words on how much I used to get myself in trouble with lying and cheating. I had a wife, I had a girlfriend, they knew about each other, but there was regulations in place where I could not bring my girlfriend to a place where I was at the time. And I basically got into some trouble and I lied and I brought my girlfriend down. And then my wife at the time surprised me that she was coming down. So I had to get rid of my girlfriend. And we had just got back from eating. She just got back from when we had just got done fucking, and she had just got out of the shower. She said, "Mac, the room smells like sex, chicken, and cocoa butter." She's gonna know that I was here. So no matter how much cleaning you do, how much lying you're gonna do, she's gonna know that I was here. So it's really a play on words on all the lying and trouble that I was getting myself into.
That is yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're a little on the wild side. All right, so for most people who ask me about this subject, and I told you, one of the reasons I became interested in it is I started doing research. What's going on, Travis? Come to Random Thoughts with DVP. I started doing research on it, and I met some true lifestylers, and I do separate them because there are people in the lifestyle who claim it. And this is when I first reached out to you, Mac, and I ended up talking to Nikki because I made a post about single guys being in there and them being disrespectful. So the first somebody who taught me about the lifestyle, when I had the questions, he was giving me all the rules and the etiquette, and I'm looking at this and I'm reading it, and I'm listening to how him and his wife talk. And they're sexually free, which I thought was awesome because I do personally believe that monogamy is not natural. That's why people say they try hard to be monogamous, because clearly it's not natural. We don't try hard to breathe; it just happens. And he was just giving me some information. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna introduce you to a lot of people. I'm gonna let you make up your mind, but don't trust any man who only says his wife likes only him and no other man." He said that's just not the way it works. If he tells you that, she's probably doing it for the wrong reasons. And he gave me a lot of little tips. And I was looking at this and I'm watching, and I finally found some guys who were cool with their woman doing the same thing that all of us men do, because we were bred to do all this other crazy stuff, I guess, by ourselves. And that's what got my interest. As I started meeting more sexually free women, I enjoyed the sexual conversation and the fact that they didn't have to be shamed about wanting to have sex, enjoying sex. And the man in their life was just as cool with it because, I always say there's a difference between sex and love. You're only going to love a few people, but sex is sex. It's a physical activity. You can do it and have fun and go on your separate way. And that's why I want to reach out to you guys, because I see how y'all posting. I'm in your group. I'm not sure who brought me into your group. I think Atlanta Lifestyle brought me in your group. He's supposed to be here, but he ain't. Look like that's him checking in. And I liked what I was reading. One of the first posts I saw was about gangbangs, and I seen all these women posting, and I seen all these guys co-signing. I was like, yeah, this is the right group, because now they having free flowing conversations, and nobody's trying to shame them for their likes or dislikes. So, ladies, give me some feedback on how y'all got into it and how it's not degrading toward women versus the street myths.
I will have yet to understand why people think that it is degrading to women when I think the most important part is consent. And that's actually what eliminates degrading. However, degrading is a kink, so that's a different thing. But how I got into it was honestly, I had a guy, I'm not going to say his name. We knew each other for a while, and we were all very platonic because I was very vanilla in my very beginning of my marriage. And we separated, and then I got introduced to this guy. And I was very new for me because he was like such a gentleman or something. And then I ended up I don't know, I learned so much about him. And it was weird because it was like, I knew I was submissive, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was or what I was fully capable of, because I've yet to physically experience it. I can read books, I can converse about it, I know all about it because of my mother, but to actually be able to experience it, it was like, shit, So then after that, it was like, oh, okay, I know I like this, and I learned very quickly the things that I don't like. And I'm more into the BDSM lifestyle than the other lifestyle. But it's not for everyone. And if you know for sure it's not for you, then it's not for you, but you won't know until you ultimately try something, unless it's like a hard no for you.
Right. And one of the things I've learned is a hard no sometimes is because you try an experience with the wrong person. Because as we get older, there are a lot of things that we've said no to. When somebody introduces us to a different way, it becomes a maybe. Then it turns into a hell yeah. Give me that 2 more times.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? How did you end up crossing the street and end up on this side of the street?
Yes. So early on, I kind of knew that I liked certain things. Like I always wanted to be, in control when it came to sex. I like the feeling that it gave me, as well as being very submissive. I realized that everyone wasn't very accepting to even mention. So what I started to do was to retract some of those thoughts and feelings and kind of sort them out myself along the way, just trying new things and seeing how far I can go with others, as well as seeing their do's and their don'ts, and trying to figure out how to get them to try to experience these things without being pushy. And that's kind of where my business, comes in, is that I try these things on my own, and with, meeting different people, not even having sex, because sometimes it didn't even get that far, just to realize that you guys kind of weren't on the same page. And I realized that even speaking with friends or coworkers, that everyone saw things completely differently. So I wanted to help people kind of sort out what was their difference and what would it take them to get to that next level, and then kind of walk them through the process, because that's what I had to do with myself. I kind of had to walk myself through the process and kind of find someone that kind of understood that. So.
Okay. And Mac, you just stumbled onto it and you just sex chicken and cocoa butter.
So it didn't stumble upon me. What had happened for me is
what had happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with it. I was very and it's no secret, because like I said, the book's been out for about almost 2 years now. So I was very miserable in my first marriage for the first 10 years. I always wanted to do lifestyle stuff before I even knew what lifestyle was. I wanted to enjoy with other people. I wanted to do threesomes. I wanted to have fun with my partner. And at a very young age, we were married, and she agreed, but it just never happens. And every time we brought it up, it would be a fight. So we want to preach open communication, and we want to preach, that partnership, but it just, every time I tried it, it ended up in drama and a fight, and just, it wasn't worth it. So I ended up burying it for a couple years. I had kids. I was trying to be the monogamous guy and do everything right. It wasn't working for me. And so I tried to do other things sexually with my wife at the time. Very specifically, I remember her, she was sucking my dick, and I backed up a few steps and told her to basically crawl to me. And she was like, I ain't, the normal, I don't want to say black girl attitude, but I ain't doing that. And she basically got up and left, and it just killed the whole thing for me. So that was my straw that broke the camel's back. And I ended up finding a girl who was down with it. And I basically threw her in the deep end, took her to a party, and it was so la vie after that. It was everything I wanted. So it was hard to go back to being miserable when I had a girlfriend who was doing everything at a time. So I tried to bring them both together, which brought my poly life. And then right after that, she was like, I think you should tie me up. And I hadn't done anything because I've been trying to do shit, but I couldn't. So that scared the shit out of me. So I started studying porn, and I started watching and reading and trying to get some shit together real quick. And I figured out that I liked that aspect. So I became a beginner dom about 10 years ago. And that's how I was kind of introduced to it, being miserable and not having a partner.
And it's crazy you say some of that, because as I was trying to do the monogamous thing, And you know, monogamy is easy, like for the first 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
Right.
And, you know, at the time, you know, I'm a little bit older, I guess. There wasn't a name for it. I just was like, this just ain't working for me. I want to do this, but I do love this woman. I just want to do more stuff. And you know, I tell her about my first entry into it. I didn't do it because I was working at a club, and a guy walked up to me, and he said, "Hey, my wife thinks you're good looking." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, you got a cute wife." He was like, "Do you want to have sex with her?" And I'm thinking, what? I don't know nothing about the lifestyle now. And he was like, "Yeah, uh, I want you to have sex with my wife." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll get back with you on that, Chief." Like I said, but I didn't know anything about this lifestyle. So in my world, this was the craziest thing that ever happened to me. A man telling me, "Hey, I want you to have sex with my wife." I'm just like, I'm looking for, you know, I'm old. I'm looking for Alan Funt. Because I know I'm on candid camera. I know somebody's punking me, and it's like, yeah,
They don't know what that is.
yeah, Ashton Kutcher. Then, you know, I ain't about that life. I ain't just finna have sex with some man's wife. I know this whole thing is a ploy to get me to say something. I'm a pass. And you know,
times. I've definitely approached other gentlemen that my wife would like nudge me and be, now my current wife now, like I said, she's my other evil half. She's sometimes worse than I am. So she's definitely nudged me a few times saying, "Hey, I like him," or whatever, and I'll go and approach him, introduce myself, and do the same thing. So I definitely am a lot freer and open with that. And I'm not the same swinger I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I couldn't have done that.
Right.
So as you said in the beginning, I think before we started this, it becomes no, I'm not going to do that. Maybe to hell yeah, give me 2 of them. So I've evolved, and I think that's kind of what we all are trying to do: evolve and become better people.
And ATL, you with me? You're a little dark over there, bro.
I am.
Yeah.
I am here. Reception's kind of bad, but I'm here.
All right. So you want to tell us how you got into this lifestyle thing?
Well, actually, to be honest, I kind of stumbled up on it. I was doing security at this Cuban club, and I was approached by this nice-looking young woman, and she was asking me if I did private security, and I was like, "Of course, I do private security." And she was just asking me what were my rates and things of sort, and you know, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And the night of the event, you know, everything was, I was told my duties. And when people started coming out, you know, I was like, okay, this right here is supposed to be a casual affair or something like this. And, you know, around 11:30, 12 o'clock, I noticed how people started migrating towards the back. And, you know, a few minutes later, they was coming out with, you know, some was half naked, some had the breast. I was like, oh, what the world? And, you know, right then, you know, I knew that I was just like into something that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I pretty much just took it all in. And, you know, it was pretty cool. I started meeting people and, you know, just started getting invited to secure other parties and stuff. And that's pretty much how I got involved in it. And, you know, at the end of each day, after each event, you know, I noticed how, you know, they add up the money and things like that. And I was like, man, these people are making all this off of, and it was just something that I just wanted to do. And I just started building my brand from the ground up, and threw my first party around my birthday, and I had a pretty nice turnout.
Okay. And you know, like I say, I got into this once I went through that event. I heard a couple other things, and I wanted to get past the street knowledge. And because on the streets, the reason I'm from Atlanta, and I didn't go to trapeze. My first time going to trapeze, for those of y'all who don't know, I'm a retired cop. My first time going to trapeze, I went there looking for somebody. One of the managers. So I'm in there, I'm in uniform, and everybody thinks I'm a character. So as I'm walking through, I'm being approached by all these women, and because I didn't know what trapeze was at the time, I just had an address for it, and I'm in there, and everybody, you know, they trying to grope me. They throwing money at me, and I'm like, y'all do know I'm a real cop, and he's like, and you act like one too, and I'm thinking, shit, because I am one. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I'm in a room full of naked people, and everybody's saying the guy's over there, and he's got women with him. And I'm just thinking, what kind of club is this? And the manager was like, hey, when you get off, you know, you want to come back? And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, keep your uniform on. I was like, maybe not with the uniform, but I'll come back. And I went back, and I was a tourist, a sightseer. I'm just looking, and I'm watching the free flowing, the way people are going. You know, I'm a little hood dude. I ain't used to seeing so many naked men if we ain't playing sports, but they're just naked, and everybody's walking around and talking like it ain't nothing. And the street said when you go to these, it's just a big orgy fest. And that was one of the things I had to first stop putting out, that it's not that, you know, it ain't where you just go in and everybody's having sex. There's a lot of normal stuff going on. There's people in the front got clothes on, they talking, there's a dance floor, there's drinks, there's food. When you go to the back, it's a little bit wilder, but it's not a free-for-all. And that was one of the biggest myths that I was trying to get people to understand. It ain't where you just go and you sleep with everybody and anybody who's there. Because that was why I avoided it, because that's all I heard. It's just a sex fest. It's just everybody going back there. Anybody who wants some can get some. As a man, I can't say no to nobody. But if I see Nikki, if I see she, and I want to get some, they can't say nothing. And that was the street knowledge I was given. So I was like, nah, I still don't want to be a part of that. And that's why I especially wanted you guys, because you've been in it a whole lot longer than me, to how do we start educating people to dispel that myth? Because there are lots of people who want to do it. There are lots of people who are actively doing it and just don't know it. But they're afraid because they heard the street, they hear the street lore about it.
So for me, I think I'm trying to do my part with the group, and I post, you know, a lot of educational things all the time, but I can only reach so much. I think part of it is, if you're interested in it, find somebody who's doing it too, because like I said, when I started, I didn't have anybody to mentor or ask those questions to. So if you're interested in it, I think there's enough information on the internet now or people on the internet where you can ask somebody or grab sex, chicken, and cocoa butter to figure out what not to do. Shameless plug. But like, you don't know the questions to ask if you don't know. So I would definitely find somebody. Any of this panel, Shiwana or Nikki Love, is definitely intelligent about the subject.
And he has a group. Y'all can't get in through me. I'm gonna let them vet y'all how they vet y'all. But Nikki, Shiwana, y'all want to answer the question about how we change some of the street misinformation?
Well, I say this all the time. Not only should us veterans educate, but you have to want to be educated. You know, and that's the biggest thing, and why these parties, how you have the good parties and the bad parties, is because you have some people do it for the money, and some people do it because it's who they are, and they want people to be able to be sexually free as well, you know. But the people who are doing it just for the money, they're not educated. They don't care. There's, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of weird on what, like, if you're throwing a party, what you should do and everything. But anyways, outside of parties, you have to want to be educated. And the veterans need to be willing to educate. And you have to live with the mindset that no question is a stupid question, even though there are stupid questions. But these are people who have no idea what they're doing. Like, I've had a woman recently in her 50s inbox me, and she's like, I know I want to do this, but what do I do? And I was like, well, you know, tell me about you. If I don't know anything about you, so I can't help you if you don't, like, tell me some information about yourself. So it goes hand in hand with the educating. It has to go both ways.
Yes, I agree 100% with everything that you said. Wanting to be educated is the first step. Knowing where to start is, you know, like I said before, kind of where my business comes in. because everything is individually done. Ultimately, everybody wants the end goal, but there's so many different steps to get there, and everybody's journey is different. So you have to want to be educated, then you have to reach out and you have to consult. You have to consult about what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and most of all, do you have a good communication with your partner to be able to tell them what it is that you want or you like. And some people have a hard time with even speaking about sex. As much as we have it, they don't want to talk about it. So you definitely have to have a want to know that it's something that you want to do. And some people's journey is not even in depth. You may just touch the beginning and find out that you and your partner are okay there. I call that the beginning. You can just stay there. You can do some small things, some small introductions of adult novelties, finding out what you want, who's the more dom, who's the more submissive, meet your partner where you are, and you can stay there. As you stay there and you explore your fantasies, which is something else that I help people do, then your fantasies start to open up and grow, and then you move your relationship, as you see fit when it comes to sex. So, wanting to be educated and finding someone to kind of find out where you are, there are some heartbroken stories and some wonderful stories that keep people from, embarking on that journey. They must consult and find out, if it's something that they can get past and start there before they start trying to invite somebody into their fantasies. It's premature.
And I think Mac made a great point when he was, a lot of times we just don't know something. You're just the best. It sucks, but the best way to do it is if you don't have a mentor like I did, somebody who was just, and I wasn't interested in getting in the lifestyle. I just wanted to know more about it so I could speak more intelligently. Because as a single man at the time, I hear all the guys want to go do this. Oh, you pay this and you can do this, to Nikki's point, because guys were throwing rent parties and they were setting this up to be something different. And there's some things you just don't know till you get there. Once I got into it, I didn't realize what I liked until I was there. I typically, as a 20 and 30-year-old, there was things that if you would tell me that I would like, we'd be ready to fight. I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna share. You gotta be joking me. That ain't no real man gonna never do that. Men don't do that. Women, if a woman does that, she's this. I had that Neanderthalic mindset. But when you do your research, and of course I like to do research, and I started saying, this been going on forever. And if you look deeply, you'll see where women had multiple men because they had the power. And why are we making this that only men can do this? Why are we saying these crazy things? And like I say, I'm watching you guys. I met ATL in another group. But I mentioned, and I think ATL added me to your group, Mac. And then I start seeing the difference in how you guys interacted. And I was like, yeah, this is the group for me, because it's so liberating. And when you like you guys, when you like having free flowing conversation without a bunch of judge me people, and you got people you can make a post, and all of a sudden you see all these co-signers to your assumed weirdness in the vanilla world, you feel like, you know what? Maybe I ain't that crazy. I mean, I still ain't at Mac level. Let me just put that out there. Mac at a whole different level. I ain't doing no sex, chicken, and cocoa butter.
Right, Mac's in the league of his own.
Right, but it puts you in a different place to know that you're not weird. That you're not. You start looking at all your vanilla friends funny, because now you realize you can't even talk the same around them.
Absolutely. I remember my first. I'm sorry to cut you off. I remember my first. You talk about trapeze. My first real resort type deal was at Secrets in Kissimmee, Orlando. And when I say that I felt like at peace and with my people, like I found my tribe. You know what I mean? This is where I want to be. I love the energy. I love there's nobody fighting. I don't have to really, I've never had anything stolen at a party. Like everybody's just there to have a good time, from what I've learned. And I really enjoy that aspect of it.
And my mentor is actually in your group. The first post I made was a tribute to him, because I was saying that because I knew the etiquette, my first event, I was really comfortable, and I didn't make anybody else comfortable because I understood it. Because if we're honest, it's not the event and ladies, this is what I want you to understand. The lifestyle is set up for you to y'all run shit at the end of the day. Because if y'all ain't there, ain't nobody coming.
Right.
But I was talking about why single men aren't all of that, because they come with a different mindset. They're rude, they're this. And the guy asked me, he said, hey, I was in one of the little groups learning stuff, and he says a lot of women have inboxed me about you. So I want you to come and I want you to be the preferred male. He's like, now these are the rules. You don't have to say yes to anybody, because I know you still nervous. And I was, because I pretty much hung under him the whole night like a little kid. Just trying to walk through, because I don't know, and I am panicky. Hell, I don't know if it's performance anxiety. I don't know if it's people anxiety. I don't know if it's just because I ain't used to doing something and I don't have a clue. But I was like, no, I'm just right there with him. All right, what are they doing? What are they doing? What can I do? He's like, well, don't just randomly sell out shit. Just sit here and chill and do this. And like I say, for me, the learning process, and I was like, yeah, I do believe that all men should be vetted in. All men should have to have a sponsor who says they know the rules, so that the Shawanas and the Nickies will feel comfortable in coming, knowing that they don't have to worry about being harassed. Because another group that I was in, where they have mandatory dress downs, they have mandatory nakedness, and dressed down and forced to be naked, and we having sex at 12 o'clock. I was told, avoid any part that tells you gotta have sex after 12. Never go to it. And the second three that I got invited to were sex parties. They weren't lifestyle parties. They're like, yeah, this is what we do, but at 12 o'clock, that's when the sex starts. And it's like, always avoid those. So I did avoid them. But it was so enlightening. And when I made the post and met Nikki, because there was a couple of guys who were offended because they felt like I was attacking single men. And I was just saying, even when you watch the single men post, a lot of times they respond so disrespectfully. They don't say anything. They just like, hey, who want to get game, man? Who can I do tonight? It's like, everybody knows about sex, but it's a process to it. They still want to be treated with respect and dignity. Even if once you get to the sex part, they want to be treated like tramps and sluts. Initially, they still want the foreplay, for lack of a better word. And like I said, when I met Nikki, because it was two guys in particular who were really hot with me. And Nikki was like, nah, you saying something that, women wish more men would say something about. And that's kind of how I met Nikki. What were you going to say, Matt?
I would say I would agree. I'm actually doing another book on just vetting single guys from the couple standpoint, from the group owner standpoint, from party standpoint, because they're all kind of different mind frames. But at the same time, when you're talking about vetting, we don't do, as group owners, enough justice for vetting couples either, because just as many problems can come from jealousy of couples at these events, or as much as the rude single guy coming. So I think vetting and the whole thing in the lifestyle is kind of messed up, and it's because there's no real regulations. The parties that are for profit only, and you can see where they're charging guys $100 to get in, or something where they charge couples $50, or some of those are red flags for me. I don't even let single guys at my parties for the most part, just because they're not bringing really anything to the table, and unless I absolutely know them and know what they're about. But vetting process in general, I think, needs to be improved.
Okay.
Question.
Go ahead, Lyle. I'm sorry.
Well, this ain't my question of the day or anything like this, but this is just in the introductory stage. Got a lot of information so far. I'm kind of like what Darren was in the beginning. My damn son used to work at Trapeze doing valet service at a very young age. So I knew about it, but I never been there. I was always into a relationship, so I haven't been there. And even a couple of times that I had talked about it with chicks, we just never made it, so I still haven't been. But can y'all break down kind of like the events and what this is? And that is because you said something about a beginner, and I don't know what the levels are, and I know what I don't know what the parties all entail. But you said party for money, I don't know what the charge or whatever like that. But I want to know about the good stuff and the good connections, and where you can really learn a lot. And I'm single, but I'm smooth, respectable, and all that. So y'all don't be putting a bad name about the single guys out there.
That's what I was trying to say. It's not all.
Oh, and when you said single guy, does that mean their relationship status? Right. Or do they just need to bring a date to the party? Does that, when you say single, that means he's coming along or his status?
That's part of the vetting process on what you want to allow at your party. So if you're with a couple, and if I say, how long have you guys been in a lifestyle? It's like, oh, this is just my girl that I'm bringing. I might see that as a red flag. I don't know if that means you guys are new to the lifestyle. That means she might be jealous. You might be jealous. So that means I need to probe more. If you say, oh, we've been doing this for 10 years and, we know AJ from down the street and he said that, I've been to his parties and oh yeah, I know him and you guys are good, then I might let my guard down a little bit. But if there's some key things as a group owner or as a person who is doing the vetting that has to be able to pick up on. And that only comes with experience. What was your other question? I'm sorry. Some of the good things about parties?
Yeah, I was just knowing the different of parties or levels of, the relationship or where you consider yourself. Somebody said a newbie,
I would think anybody that is, because the lifestyle for me has changed so much over the last 10 years, but I've been all over the world doing it. I was at Budapest. I've been swinging in Italy, Spain, France. I've been out doing it all over. So it's changed a lot. I've seen a lot. But I would say anybody that's under 3, 4, 5 years is still kind of a newbie. And then you start, learning really what's going on after that.
Matt,
that's just my own personal.
I'm sorry, who was that?
This is Atlanta.
Hey Tia, what's going on?
All right, so got a question for Matt. At the during the beginning of your events, do you lay down your ground rules on just etiquettes and do's and don'ts and things, just giving them an idea, especially for the new people that you may have that's partying with you guys?
I've seen that happen before in other groups. I do that in my vetting process. I make sure that they know before they get there. That way they have an option on whether they want to do it or not. I've seen people, say, and they all come up together in a circle before anything starts. I've been at parties where people have prayed before they got down. That was really crazy for me. So for me, I do it vetting process, but I can't speak for everybody.
Well, something that I do, okay, so there are so many different lifestyles and lifestyle events. And I say that
you're right.
There are so many different lifestyle and lifestyle events, and they all are done differently. Just for example, the one that we're putting on, even when I mentioned it to Matt, we were on the phone and he just was like, hey, Shawana, hold up, it's not no swinging, what's up, and but one of the, main, points of lifestyle that I kind of tackle is the educational part. So we can have fun and do all these things, but before you can even embark on some of these things, you must be educated. So a lot of my events are educational, food is involved, games are involved, adult things are involved, so that we are able to speak, people are able to speak about the lifestyle, do some Q&A, have you thinking a little bit while you're there, kind of finding out where you are, getting the opportunity to speak to people who are veterans that are there about questions that that you want to know, and to be able to set up services as you're networking to, best fit you where you and your partner are. So there are so many different avenues, but this is, say it again.
No, go ahead.
ATL.
I was talking to somebody.
Man,
I was talking to somebody.
Got some of the best and the most advanced meet and greets I've ever heard of. So I'm looking forward to what she's got to offer.
And one of the things that I want, especially Mac and Nikki, is when we talk about, and I use the general term lifestyle because there's so many different things. I mean, most people know about swingers, but there are some people who don't swing. There's so many different categories or subcategories, and they all fall under the general umbrella of lifestyle. And I always joke with people, especially women, if you're dealing with a guy, he cheated, you take him back, technically y'all are swingers, you just not enjoying your end of the deal. So, I would never do it. But if you keep going back to your cheating dude, he's swinging and you not. But there are different aspects to what people do. There are people who don't share, but they like to be seen. There are people who don't share, but they like to watch other people. All of these fall under generic categories of lifestyle. Is that right, Mac?
Yes, the lifestyle term originated with swinging, but it's been umbrellicized, that's the right word, to fit other lifestyles in there. And I agree, every couple, every person has their own rules and regulations. So it's getting to know those people and what they specifically are comfortable with. Like, for instance, me and my girl, I don't exchange any body fluids. I'm not kissing nobody. I'm not eating no coochie at no swingers party. I'm not doing anything that swaps body fluids. I'm not with. So that's just our rules and regulations.
And most people have different rules and regulations. We were looking at one of the posts the other day, and and it's funny because I actually did this about kissing, and most people won't do the kissing, which is funny, and it's also crazy because I did a post about what's the most intimate thing that you can do with somebody, and street terms. Prostitutes never kiss. Most swingers don't want to kiss because kissing is intimate, but it's normally the first thing we do with a regular partner before we get to sex. So it's like, how do you bridge that gap to where it's the most intimate thing, but it's the something that you don't want to do, but it's the first thing you do. You know what I'm saying? It's so oxymoronic.
No. How can you give somebody head and not kiss them?
Say again?
How can you give somebody head and then not kiss them? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's super crazy.
So it is, if you want to Google it, it is much cleaner to lick somebody's asshole than it is to kiss them in the mouth.
No.
I think we're gonna take your word on that one. I don't think we're gonna Google that. You know what I'm saying? it might come with pictures.
Wow. No, it don't. I've been moving this far, educated myself.
I do want to point out something too that I think is important within the vetting process is the level of confidence in the male or even the female, because I think that automatically to me eliminates like jealousy and things like that. I've gone to several parties and felt so uncomfortable because I felt judged. I don't know, like the women, instead of interacting with everyone, they're all following me because they think I'm gonna like take their man or something, and I'm like, I'm just talking, I'm just I'm here to have fun just like everyone else, but you cannot be in the lifestyle and have insecurities. I mean, we all have our good days and bad days, but if you got trust issues in your relationship and things like that, I don't know why you're trying to attempt to do something like this, because it's gonna all fall downhill. But I think confidence is really, really important when it comes to this, because it would really eliminate a lot, in my opinion.
Yes, facts.
And it's one of those things where, and I tell people, it's not for